Klondike Gold Rusher seems to be one of the hardest roller coasters to get on. Located at Wild Waves Theme Park in Washington, this is your standard Zamperla Wild Mouse. But from personal experience and hearing from locals, you will often find this ride closed. It was miraculously open in one of my most recent trips to Wild Waves, and I'll explain if it's worth the trouble trying to ride it in this review. Six Flags purchased Wild Waves in Enchanted Village in late 2000. While this park was growing and located in a big metropolitan area, it had a much thinner coaster lineup than your typical Six Flags park. There were only two at the time, a relocated Arrow Looper and Wild Thing, and a small powered kiddie coaster. So for the 2002 season, the park received Klondike Gold Rusher. This was a Zamperla Wild Mouse, specifically one of their zigzag models. Zamperla only sold 8 of these coasters, and Six Flags purchased half of those. 2 others went to Walligator and Walibi Rhône-Alpes in France in 2002, when Six Flags still operated both those parks. The third went to La Ronde in 2003. The overall layout is similar to the far more common Mack or Mauer installations. You start with a series of high hairpin turns before navigating some smaller dips in the second half. In general, these rides are fairly reliable, but you will need to say some prayers to get on Klondike Gold Rusher. This one operates sporadically. My first visit took place on a Friday before Labor Day weekend in 2019. Considering that should be one of the busiest weekends of the year at a park, I thought all 4 coasters would safely be operational. Nope. Klondike Gold Rusher was closed. Many trip reports from 2019 to 2022 specifically mentioned this ride was closed, and honestly, I would not be surprised if it didn't operate at all during that time. Flash forward to 2023. Due to an extended work trip to the Seattle area, I am actually a Wild Waves season pass holder, so I've visited this park quite a few times this year. And how many times have I seen Klondike Gold Rusher open? Just once. It was a beautiful summer Saturday. Meanwhile, I saw this coaster close on 4 other weekdays, all of which were in June. I ran into a few pass holders in line, annual pass holders for multiple years no less, and they all remarked they had never seen the ride open before the day I got on it. That was telling. The closures don't seem to be maintenance related, rather, staffing. Except for my Saturday visit, I have seen multiple rides close every time I've been here. I find it odd the park would choose to staff one of their smaller flat rides over a coaster, but that seems to be the norm here. So if you want to ride this coaster, I strongly recommend visiting on a summer weekend, specifically a Saturday. Although, there recently was a Reddit report saying the ride was open a weekday in July, so maybe they're better staffed in the main July weeks. This ride does not run too many vehicles for a Wild Mouse. There were just 2 in the course for me. Then there were 2 others on the transfer track. Then per usual, they seat just 4 riders in 2 rows of 2. I was worried the line would be lengthy on a weekend, especially with so few vehicles and poor capacity. But only the last bit of the queue line was filled. Maybe people didn't bother walking over there considering it's often closed. If by some chance this ride is open, ride it ASAP because it may not be open for long given this ride's history. I ended up waiting just 10 to 15 minutes for my ride. Had the whole queue line been filled, I could have easily seen this taking an hour. The crew was sending trains like clockwork though. The crew routinely had the next train ready to go once the prior one was completing the circuit. The restraints are simple. You have a seatbelt and then a shared lap bar per row. The cars have a severe lack of legroom though, so keep that in mind if you're on the taller side. However, I do like the looks of the cars as they resemble minecarts. While on the topic of appearance, I like the overall look of this ride. The yellow track is well suited to the ride's name, and I like how it's positioned beneath trees. Further, it runs alongside the roadway into the park, so in the rare case it's operating, it does look pretty good going in. And I did a double take driving in the one day I saw it cycling. I thought it was a mirage. That's how little faith I had in this ride actually being open for a change. Once dispatched, you turn out of the station and ascend a 4-story tall lift hill. While it's technically a bit smaller than a mouse from other manufacturers, it doesn't really feel it on ride. At the top, you then navigate a series of hairpin turns. While there is a trim brake midway through this section, it does not slow the vehicle down one bit, so you get solid laterals in each of these turns. You get some more abrupt laterals on the turn to the second half. Then comes the ride's biggest plunge, and the drops are the biggest issues with this ride. On other mice, the dips and subsequent ascents can offer pops of airtime. You don't get that in the Zamperla versions. The drops are simply too shallow. What you do get in this ride instead is good laterals, even more so in the second half. After that first drop, you rise upwards and navigate a sharp 180-degree turn, getting another nice dose of laterals. You then pass through another set of trims that again do absolutely nothing. Then you have another small dip and jump upwards above the station. No negative Gs, but the following turn over the station is great laterals. You are slammed sideways with no mercy. If you're watching this off-ride, do not be surprised if you hear others scream from their suddenness. This is followed by a mild dip in Bunny Hill before the final turnaround. And that last turn is a doozy. It is one last hairpin turn with some more violent laterals. You're cruising at a good speed, and I love their power, but some may find them painful and simply too much. Then you head downwards and hop into the final brake run, but brace yourself. You slam to a full and complete stop. Your body will be jerked forwards and then slammed back into the seat back. After some possible cussing, you slowly roll back into the station, ending the experience. This coaster covers just 885 feet or 260 meters. That is shockingly little track, even for a wild mouse. But the ride still has a satisfactory length to it. That just shows how compact the elements are. In terms of pacing, this mouse is pretty good thanks to the lack of trim brakes. Then the ride tracks quite well. Some may find the laterals in the second half a bit too much, but again, I do enjoy them. So what would I rate the Klondike Gold Rusher? I would give this wild mouse a 5 out of 10. This is a fine wild mouse. The laterals are lovely, especially in the second half. The last few turns offer some of the best lats of the genre. The thing that holds this ride back for me are the drops. The dips in the second half simply are weak and dull. So in the end, this is a pretty average wild mouse. You have above average turns, but below average drops. I personally prefer the standard Mach and Mauer ones that run untrimmed, but this one runs comparably to the minimally braked L&T Systems ones. Think of Wild Lightning at Lake Winnie before they removed it. So keep that in mind if you encounter this ride closed, which again seems to be a fairly common occurrence. So those are my thoughts on Klondike Gold Rusher at Wild Waves Theme Park. What are your thoughts on the Zamperla Wild Mouse? How do you think it compares to the other installations out there? Additionally, let me know if you've had any luck getting on this ride. Again, it took me a few tries, but I finally got on it. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canobie Coaster. Thanks for watching.